Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we are 3 away from our goal of 200. And let's get going today. As you've seen in the title, we are talking about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I know we've talked about him in one or two videos already, discussing his contract situation with the Edmonton Oilers. But then the Athletic has to go out today and say, what if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does not sign with the Edmonton Oilers? Well, then you got this guy on Facebook, I can't remember his name, he's basically in love with NHL trade rumors and The Athletic. And the NHL trade rumor page there, the Oilers one, was kind of against The Athletic announcement too, and I am too. Now, The Athletic saying, well, he wants at least $7 million for 7 years. Well, yes, with that number, with this flat salary cap, that's only arguably $1 million more than what he makes now in Edmonton from what his contract was after his entry level. Now, if you think, okay, next season, if he does want the $7 million and say, 7 years for $7 million, that I believe brings him to the age of 34, 35, depending on when his birthday is. So now you got Nugent Hopkins till he's, let's say, 35 years old. Well, what everyone is forgetting is that, well, with the flat cap, it's harder to sign Ryan Nugent Hopkins, is what a lot of the people are arguing. They are also arguing, while he's more of a top player on different teams, he's not shadowed because we got superstars like McDavid and Draisaitl. And Nuge can also quarterback a power play, which we already have two of those on the same power play he's on. But let's take all these points and discuss them. Let's start with the number. $7 million for 7 years, honestly, is a good number for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They compared him to Edmontonian Brendan Gallagher from the Montreal Canadiens that just signed, I believe it was last season, 6 years for $6.5 million. Now let's compare the two. Yes, Nugent Hopkins does not have as much playoff games as him. So Nuge in his career has 12 points in 17 playoff games with a -5. Now we go look at Gallagher. He has 49, so of course the numbers are different, but he only has 25 games in 49. If you times Nugent Hopkins games by 2 and points, Nuge would technically be, theoretically, he would have 24 points in 34 games. That's still 15 games less than Gallagher has played, and Gallagher is a -6. So right there's a couple numbers. Now we look at Gallagher, his plus minus, he's a +58. That's different for Nuge. We know what the Edmonton Oilers went through compared to what Montreal's gone through, but let's look at the points. Gallagher has 334 points in 547 games. So then we go look at Nuge. He has 443 in 604. So a lot more points in just a little bit more games. Also, Nuge was drafted a year later than Brendan Gallagher. So paying the $7 million for a guy that can play on your first line power play, has tremendous passing and a sick snipe, he's a penalty killer. You don't get that much from Brendan Gallagher right there. He could play wing or center. If your third line center isn't doing so well, he could go in. If whoever he plays with, the center, jumps and gets thrown out, you got Nuge there. Nuge is very important to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, what they said was, well, he's overlooked by guys like McDavid and Draisaitl. Yes, I will agree that, though Draisaitl and McDavid are spotlight for the Edmonton Oilers. Let's put it that way. But I don't think Nuge really cares. Nuge goes out, he plays the game. If he didn't want to be in Edmonton, he would have asked for a trade. With all the stuff that went down, He would have asked for a trade a long time ago, but he's still here. He wants to be an Edmonton Oiler. That goes to the point, well, he might be different or like a top player on other teams. He's still a top player on the Edmonton Oilers. Every time you see an article, yes, it's McDavid Draisaitl, but there's always some kind of Nugent-Hopkins news in the mix there, unless it has something to do with Jesse Puljujarvi. Nuge is always somewhere in that article, and I can't stress this enough. It's just the Athletic pulling for strings here. And I believe, if it came down to it, if Nugent-Hopkins got an offer, let's say from Vancouver, just throwing that out there, for 8 million, 7.5 for same years, and Edmonton goes, well, you know what, all we can afford is 7 million for 7 years, I believe, Nuge would still stay in Edmonton. Even though he's from BC, that's kind of a bad example, but any other team, I think if Nuge isn't getting paid $10 million from a team, he's going to stay in Edmonton. He's been here his whole career. He's one of those guys that gets a chance to actually play his full career in Edmonton. And who knows? It could be the whole Ryan Smith thing again, and he comes back for 1 or 2 more years after. Who knows? But the Athletic needs to lay off of Nugent-Hopkins. Ken Holland has already came out and said this millions of times. Our top priority throughout the season, next off season, is to get Ryan Nugent-Hopkins signed to extension. Now, you might go, well, where do we have the money for this? Well, you guys are forgetting too. Just because it's a flat salary cap doesn't mean much. You also have your LTIR guys. You also have a bunch of cap space coming off of next year. Actually, I'll search that up while I talk. So, and then you got the expansion draft. So, right there, let's just say, Caleb Jones gets picked from Seattle. That's $1 million off your books. There's the million that, you have Nuge for this year added onto his contract. It is very possible for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to sign in Edmonton not greater than $8 million. Anywhere between $6 and $8 million is where Ryan Nugent-Hopkins can fit into the Edmonton Oilers roster. So let's just search up here on Cap Friendly. If I could spell here, that'd be great. So, also, you got other people coming off the books this year, as, of course, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is this top search engine on Cap Friendly. So, you got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You got Alex Chiasson. He's making $2.15 right now. There's the $2 million if you go up to $8 million for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You also have Jujhar Khaira, that's an RFA. As an Oilers fan, I don't think Jujhar Khaira is coming back. I think he's a lost cause. You also have Tyler Ennis. He's on $1 million right now. Who knows about him? He could have a great year, keep signing 1 year, 2 year deals. You have Gaetan Haas, $950,000 or $15,000. You also have Joakim Nygard at $875,000. Now on defense, you have Adam Larsson, so that's $4.166 million. You have Chris Russell, that's re-signed through next season. You have Tyson Barrie next season, and you have Mike Smith gone. So out of those guys, you are getting a bunch of salary cap from the Edmonton Oilers. After this season, the Edmonton Oilers will have $11 million off their cap from their defensemen, $1.5 million off from their goalie, and $14 million off of their forwards. Yes, of course, you got to go sign guys like if Tyson Barrie has a good year, but I don't think Adam Larsson is getting anywhere north of $4 million next year. He hasn't really proved himself to be that. I think it'd be in the $3 million, so you're saving there. People just need to lay off of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' contract. It will all work out in the end. Like I just mentioned, we will have 14, 15, I said 11 in defense. 11 in defense, just shy, so 10. So we got $25 million freed up for next year. There's no way we have to struggle with signing Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So 25 million. Let's go top end. He gets eight. Let's say 9 million. That's top end. Like we know it's not going to happen, but for argument's sake, we are going to say 9 million. That's 14 million left. You go sign a goalie. That's a backup for a year, whatever. Let's say 2 million. So right there, that's 11 million. You still have 13 million or so left in salary cap room. You sign Tyson Barrie to $4 million. You sign Adam Larson at $3 million. That's $7 million. You still have $6 million for everything else. You can't forget we also have guys coming through the system like no tomorrow, like Carter Savoy. He's on a killer streak. Who knows? He could be in the NHL in 2 years. We got our first round pick, Holloway. Maybe we don't sign Adam Larson and we use Evan Bouchard. Maybe he is ready. Philip Proberg. We got all this prospect talent. Raphael Lavoie. There's Cooper Marody. There's, can't remember half of them right now. I'm drawing a blank. But, sorry, you guys were watching that screen for however long. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is an Oiler. He has admitted he wants to stay with the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? If the Edmonton Oilers offer him $7-8 million and another team comes back with 11, okay, that's when I think Nuge will leave. But he's unlikely to get $11 million from someone. He wants to be in Edmonton. He played with the Red Deer Rebels. He's from Vancouver. The only team that might persuade him to leave is Vancouver, because I don't think he wants to go anywhere else. So let me know in the comments what you think, because, the Athletics just trying to pull strings and get people talking like me. And, let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys on the next one.